Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You hear, these words over and over and over. Self-determination, sovereignty, independence, the rule of law. Remember, NATO, and in parentheses, defensive alliance. Now many of these things are lies and they are applied preferentially. So when they say freedom, some people can have freedom, some people can't have freedom. When they say sovereignty, referring to a country, some countries' sovereignty must be respected, yes, and some other countries' sovereignty should be ignored by the same people, by the same leaders of the people, of the countries. So now we have, for instance, NATO, which is a defensive alliance that reacts only when one of their members or more are attacked. Well, guess what? NATO just attacked another country. Can you guess who that is? No. And they were not attacked. It's Turkey who's the victim and Iraq who's the aggressor. But remember, hey, Iraq, we brought them democracy and freedom and liberty and everything else. They are a country, sovereign country, recognized by United Nations. Turkey bombarded Iraq, killing some people over there. Hey, what's going on, NATO? What's going on, Biden? All right, so apply the same rules, right, to everybody across the board. Republic World, this is the source, October 2nd, 2022. This is the title. Turkey says 23 Kurdish militants killed in Iraq airstrikes. Well, you might think these guys, Iraqis and the Kurds, attacked Turkey. Well, Turkish warplanes, quote-unquote, neutralized. So that's a euphemism from eliminated, killed, destroyed, blown up. All right, I make justice here. I'm telling you how neutralized, like they immobilize them, physically restrain them. That's neutralized, so it can't do anything, right? No, they were blown up. They neutralized the warplanes, 23 Kurdish militants in a raid 140 kilometers, which is 90 miles inside Iraq. For God's sake. Turkish Defense Ministry said on Sunday, 90 miles. So when I hear NATO defending, NATO intervening, NATO being upset and concerned, it goes right in my ass and stays there for a while and then goes out. Okay? That's what happens in my world. I don't know. There's so much hypocrisy. Now, I have a little soft spot, I would say, for Mr. Erdogan, because I think he's got balls and he's courageous and he looks for his interest. Like in this situation, he's looking for his interest. I got that. But there are some laws and there are some rules and there are some leaders and there are some people who look for, instituting all that across the world, but they don't abide by them. And I'm talking about NATO. I want Stoltenberg right now to show up. I want the European Union Commission, whatever her name is, Ursula, the bear, von der Leyen. I want her to come out and say, I want Biden to be resuscitated, boom, boom, for about 10 seconds and say, we oppose, and then go back to wherever he is in his casket and then close it until the next appearance. I want that to happen. Why isn't it happening? We know. I want the United Nations, I want Mr. Guterres to show up and say, hey guys, what's going on here? Nothing will happen. It happened before. It happens now. It will happen in the future. Hey, isn't Iraq a sovereign country? If yes, what's going on here? Besides, the Turkish army, not the Turks, the population, attacks targets, that means neutralize people in northern Syria. How is that possible? Isn't Syria a UN recognized country? It is. It is a sovereign country. Supposedly it is. But it has American troops on it, uninvited, occupying it. What are they doing, Guterres? United Nations, hey, Stoltenberg, come out and show your little dingy-lingy and say something. Ursula, say something. Biden, Kamala, wake up from your race-baiting activities and say something. After all, those are, you might consider them, I don't know, people of color. No? Unbelievable. Not unbelievable, because I still get, I'll use a euphemism, a little bit upset with this kind of things, even though I know how things work. I know that's a pattern. It's happened before in the same context. I know the hypocrisy. I know the movements here. I know how the script is. But I can't help being like this. And you haven't seen anything yet. But let's continue reading this article. Maybe they tell us. Maybe there's a reason. Okay? Turkish warplanes neutralized. Okay, the ministry usually refers to killing militants as neutralized. You think? It said the number of casualties in the mission in the Assos region, northern Iraq, which is controlled by the autonomous Kurdish regional government, was expected to rise. So they will do it. Bam, bam. Okay, controlled by autonomous Kurdish regional. So they can do it? How come it's autonomous within Iraq, but the Russians in the East Ukraine, they can't be autonomous? Why is that? Why is that? You see double standards? A video accompanying the ministry's tweet showed F-16 fighters taking off and a number of explosions in the mountainous area. Now, F-16 are provided by the United States of America. I'm going to tell you something that I didn't know up to that point, but now I do know, and I believe it. Not because it came from this guy, who's an evil guy, almost, you can't say it's the same because you're going to hurt other victims, perpetual victims, almost as Adolf. And this person is Putin. If you remember when that was the Syrian bombardments and they were trying to push the ISIS out and so on, the Russians, allegedly, or I don't know, demonstratively, some Russian S-24 bombers crossed into the Turkish territory. About, I don't know, a few seconds, a minute or something like this, and the Turks said they violated the sovereignty of Turkey, like they do now with everybody else in Syria and in Iraq. And they shut down with F-16s, they shut down that one. Now, I heard only then, told by Putin, it's still online, you can find it on YouTube. And you say, well, it's Putin lies. But I think he knows what he's talking about regarding these kind of issues. And I checked. Those airplanes, this is how it is. When the United States sells you, a country, its equipment, F-3000, F-16s, you cannot take off with those planes unless you ask the seller for permission, which is the Pentagon. Okay? So it's like you go and buy a car, a new car, and you can't drive it unless you call the dealership and say, hey, I would like to drive it. And they will ask, where are you going, how long you will be going, and who else is coming with you. That's exactly what the questions are. So that has to be green lighted by the Pentagon to take off with your click airplanes. So the fact that these F-16s neutralized Kurdish militants, in Iraq, tells me that they got a green light from some boss over there. So that's why you're not going to hear anybody saying anything about it. Or they will say it just as a, to say it so people like me have my mouth shut. But nevertheless, the action is there. And we know shit more than these guys are telling us. But what can you do? So let's continue read here. So the F-16 fighters taking off and a number of explosions in the mountainous area. The ministry referred to a statement from Defense Minister Hulusi Akar on Thursday, in which he said airstrikes had hit 16 targets in the Assos region. 16, boom, 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 16 times, okay? Or maybe more because it's 16 targets, but maybe you dropped 3,000, I'm just saying, missiles over there, okay? The targets were 16. Turkey has been conducting a series of operations. Oh, it's operation here. Russia is not a military operation in Ukraine. That's a criminal war of how they call it, imperialistic, tsaristic, blah blah blah. But here is just, you know, we call it as they want it to be called. In northern Iraq since 2019, saying the military is targeting the Kurdistan Workers' Party or PKK. I can call my neighbor PKK and I can go over there and shoot every night at him because I call that person however I want. I can call anyone the way I want, right? And based on that, I act accordingly. Is that how it goes? Shouldn't that be determined by outsiders? By NATO? By Stoltenberg? By NATO and the European Union and all these leaders? No? I mean, they can call Putin a PKK member and they're going to attack Putin now? I mean, or Biden. Prevent from launching cross-border attacks on Turkey. So they shut those so they cannot attack Turkey. They are attacking them preemptively, okay? So I can go to my neighbor, I think he looks a little bit suspicious. I'm going to preemptively knock him out a few times, okay? During the day-to-day. Really? In April, Operation Clawlock was launched, which involves ground and air forces. Is that an invasion of a sovereign country? Autonomous region within a sovereign country? Yes, it is. It's a special operation? Yes. Preemptive strike? Yes. The PKK has waged an on-again, off-again insurgency against the Turkish state since 1984, a conflict that has killed tens of thousands of people. But is that the way you do it? Is that the way, or you go to United Nations and you try to get a resolution and you get in? No? No, why is not working like that? So I'm just gonna shoot you how much I want. 84, the guys from United States brought freedom and democracy in Iraq. What happens with that one? Free country, yeah, we did. How much money went into Iraq? From our taxes. The group is listed as a terrorist organization by Turkey, the United States and the European Union. How come they are in Iraq? In the country we liberated and brought democracy, is a perfect country, and the terrorist group over there. Where are the CIA drones? Where is the US military destroying them? Where are they? They're busy, you know where? In Syria, making sure that the oil industry of the United States and others, international big ones, are extracting Syrian oil and send it to moi. That's where they are. I don't see anything over there. What's going over there? I don't know. Oh my God. Oh, that's how it works. If it's a terrorist organization, you know where they are. Why don't you go over there and take care of them? I thought it was a war on terror. Is that not anymore? Is it finished? Did we win? Or what? It seems like a very much lack of interest in taking care of that, but very much interest on other stuff. So that means this selective justice here, selective attention and selective law applying of the law and so on. And remember, this is a NATO member who's attacked by a terrorist group, and nobody goes and wipe them, right? I mean, if, after all, the rule of law, and we should uphold it with all our... Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.